Hi everyone and welcome back to SGTV. It is World Youth Skills Day, so we are talking about taking on an apprentice versus taking on an experienced employee. So today on the show we've got Cathy Cocking from LittleMissElectrical. Say hello Cathy, it's good to have you back on the show. So for those of you who don't know, Cathy's got quite a number of employees on her books for her company. So it's a good contrast today. And we've also got a returning guest in Mark Allison from Apprentice12. Hi Mark.
Hi Ben, thanks for having me back again. Nice to be here.
It's good to have you back. We keep hearing your name mentioned in loads of other videos we've done where we've got all different subjects. Everyone's praising you on sorting them out with apprentices. So
Oh, well, it's nice to get some good comments. I was worried you were going to tell me they've been saying what an idiot I am, so that's good.
You're like the Mother Teresa of the apprentice world at the minute. So,
Oh, jeez.
But I understand you've just taken on an apprentice yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. We have. So we've got another one just started in probably 6, 7 weeks ago now,
Okay.
and they seem to be settling quite well. It's something that we try and do as a company. Always have some apprentices coming through, and yeah, it's going well so far.
Yeah. So I think this would be a good contrast today. So you've got yourself, who's got young apprentices, Cathy, who's got experienced employees. So it'd be good to have a bit of input from you both on the dynamics and why you've hired who you have. So I want to start out with you, Mark. So what's made you feel at this point in your business was the right time to take on an apprentice?
Well, we tend to have an apprentice working with an experienced electrician, and it was just a natural progression as someone else kind of came out at the time and qualified that we was in a position to add another role into the business. We've got the volume of work there, and also with the mindset of apprentice one-to-one and trying to encourage other people to take that journey as well. It seemed like something that we should be looking to do. We were fortunate enough with the volume of work we've got to do that. And yeah, that's just always something that we are doing as a business. We kind of grow on the back of apprenticeships. So
It's
as we're
almost
trying
like
to,
a practice what you preach kind of
yeah,
thing.
ultimately as well, exactly, it is a bit of that, I think. And I was
Yeah.
conscious of the fact that, our apprentices had all kind of finished in the year prior, and we'd not really done anything about replacing them into the business. And yeah, it seemed like a good thing to be doing, especially in the circumstances, because there's a lot of people in my area who were looking for employment, and to be able to do that ourselves made a lot of sense, and it's going well so far.
Yeah, that's good stuff. How about you, Cathy? So you tend to take on more experienced employees for your business, don't you?
Not necessarily, no. Like we've had a good mixture, I'd say.
Okay.
We've had a few experienced employees, and we've also had like a few apprentices as well. So, one of our apprentices qualified last week, and then we've got an apprentice who's been with us a year now. We've got one who's just about to book her M2, and we've also got an apprentice that's starting in September. So we've got a good mixture.
Okay. What about when you come to hire employees? When you're looking for an experienced employee, what sort of motivation do you have? Why do you go looking for an experienced employee at that point?
So to be honest, I've not really spent a lot of time like actively seeking out employees. I've had a lot of people come to me asking for work experience, work placements, employment. So it's like usually if somebody contacts me and we can help them out, so we've got some jobs where we can offer them a placement, or when I've had people contacting me looking for full-time employment, like we've done a couple of trial days with them, maybe on a Saturday or something. And we're just looking at their skill set, what experience they've got, how capable they are of doing the job. Just like all around thing, sort of what's helpful.
So it was quite a natural sort of progression then. Really, it weren't anything in particular. You weren't seeking anyone out. It was more people coming to you and they just slot in with their skill set.
Yeah, to be honest, if people approach us and ask for like an opportunity, I try and help give them the opportunity if they tick boxes, if you know what I mean. So, if we're quite busy and we could do with another experienced electrician, or when Lucy, who's our apprentice who's starting in September, she contacted me and I wasn't looking for an apprentice, but her email just really stood out. She'd written like a nice long email about how she was doing sports science as a A-level course, and she just decided that she wanted to retrain as an electrician because her dad was a kitchen fitter and she's been going with him working. So she got a bit of experience, and she was saying things like, her email said something like, So why, you must be thinking, why do I want to be an electrician? Well, and then like a good explanation of why, and then it's like, and why now? So I've decided during the pandemic that being taking up a trade would be really useful, as you know, they've continued and they've been really busy and stuff like that. It was just really like witty and well worded how she'd written it. So it made me think like, oh, do you know what? That's so different to every other apprentice CV that I've just had. Like, hi, I'm looking for an apprenticeship. Here's my CV. That I was like, do you know what? Let's take her on some work experience and see how she gets on. So it's more like that. Like, people contact me, and if they really stand out, I'll be like, right, because like the thing with us being a female team, it's we already have like such higher expectations of us. Like, customers automatically presume that we're like superwomen that are going to be amazing. So when someone contacts me and I think, you know, this is another superwoman, let's get her on board. You know what I mean? That sort of feeling.
So do you think the attitude of people approaching you is one of the biggest sellers for both of you?
Massively now, yeah, definitely now. Don't know what Mark thinks about that, but definitely now.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's one of the things I encourage people in Apprentice 1-to-1 to do, is to get in touch with employers in their local area and try and make that contact. You know, that always is a benefit if you can stand out from the rest of the crowd who are just sending in CVs or regular applications. By having that personal interaction, it's a really good thing to do. And we get that in our business. That's the thing that prompted me to start Apprentice 1-to-1 in the very outset. The number of messages coming in asking for work experience or asking for a job, you know, that's how I saw this kind of thing that was building up over a year ago now. So it's really common, I think, in trades that you do have people who reach out when you're not necessarily advertising for a member of staff. So you kind of have that pool of people who you've already got in mind, if you like, if you do ever need some extra hands on deck where you can go to.
I think it was Neil Bridgman who we did a video before, and he was saying one of the biggest things he looks for is sort of that attitude, and he'd take attitude over knowledge. He was saying you can teach knowledge, you can teach the technical side of things, the practical side of things, but you can't necessarily teach a good working attitude.
Definitely like work ethic and like pride in your work. Like, you can't teach people that.
No,
I
like,
totally
showing
agree.
pride is a massive thing, massive issue.
Yeah, it is. I watched that episode with Neil, actually. I think it's been well viewed, actually, looking at some of the numbers that have popped up on that one. It's a really big episode. But he made a lot of good points, and that was one of them. It is definitely the case that you can kind of teach people how to be electricians, but if they haven't got that core desire and determination and hard-working attitude, and that's all in the recruitment of people yourself, you kind of have to look for that as an employer. So it's important you do spend some time interacting with people and trying to learn a bit about them to see if they're going to fit into your business.
Do you ever feel when you are looking for someone that, depending on where you are with your business, your workload, time of year, whatever the situations may be, that you may be looking for someone who can just hit the ground running as an experienced employee, or you might feel you have a bit more time to sort of mould an apprentice to the way your business works? How do you feel for that?
I think overall, after employing both experienced and new top unexperienced people, I think that apprentices are probably my favourite, or like the ones that have been easier, because like you say, you can mould them, especially if they're younger, because they learn really quickly as well. Like Lucy, who's starting with us in September, she's 18 and she's so bright and she picks up stuff so quickly. Whereas, and not anyone in particular, but I've had like a lot of women contact me who are like a bit older, maybe in their late 20s, early 30s, even women in their 40s who we've taken on placements, you know, to try and help them get experience. And like the difference in how quick she picks things up, it's just crazy. Like, you wouldn't expect it to be that big of a difference, but there's a massive difference, especially like you say, when they take pride in their work and they've got a good work ethic and a good attitude.
So yeah, we work a lot in compliance, and if we have a specific order coming in where we need an electrician who's experienced in testing, obviously an apprentice recruitment for that isn't really going to work. So we would have to take in an experienced employee to manage that contract. So if we picked up, say, an estate with 100 units on that's going to keep someone busy for a year or whatever, we would be recruiting to fulfill that. But generally, if we're looking to naturally grow, because there's an overall bulk of work, we look towards hiring an apprentice, because you know, that feels like the right thing to do. And as Cathy said, they pick things up really quickly, and often having that extra pair of hands in and around experienced electricians can make you more productive, I think, than just taking on another experienced worker who's going to go off and work, as an electrician in their own right, rather than being a labouring assistant whilst they're learning the ropes as an apprentice. So it depends really what the actual growth prospect is for your business. If you are recruiting to do something that you need the technical ability straight away, or if you're just looking for some extra hands into your business to help you overall with the workload.
Yeah, I was sort of going to say on my next question, really, do you feel that it is a point of you're at the point of your business where you can expand, you've got the option to expand and you need the staff to do that, or is it more of a case, I'm overrun with business now, I need someone right now?
I think when I first started out building up the business, and talking back to Neil's episode, I think he said the same thing. It was that bravery to take the step to employ someone. So I was definitely a busy fool at that stage. I was running around trying to do everything in the business, from the accounts to the scheduling of work, and then doing the actual job. And I'd put off hiring someone for a long time, actually. But now you kind of see it coming with the experience of being in business now for over 15 years, that you recognise when you're reaching that stage where you do need extra people into your business to make you more profitable. The idea is to help you generate more money and be a better business at the end of the day. So it's that experience, I think, until you've been in that journey, it seems easy looking back. And I had people saying the same to me at that point in my career, that you should really be hiring. But it is a difficult stage we all go through. We're not born into running businesses. We're just technical electricians at the end of the day, generally. And it is a learning curve that we all have to develop through, I feel. As that's certainly my journey through towards where I am now.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it, hiring people? The first time you do it, it's quite scary.
Yeah. Was it a big step for you, Cathy?
Yeah, definitely. And taking somebody on as an apprentice was it felt quite natural, because it was like I was just busy and I needed help. But actually taking a person on to run separate jobs from me and be on another site from me, that was like something I really teetered around for ages. I was like, do I want to do that? And then we had a guy called Paul who worked with us for a bit. I think it was 2 years ago now. So he just still does occasional jobs with us now and then. And then I took Lizzie on. I don't think you guys met Lizzie, but she was one of our most experienced electricians, and the weight that got lifted when she started working for us, she used to do loads of overtime, pick up a lot of call outs and stuff. And it was weird. Sometimes I'd go home and she'd still be on a job, and I'd be like, this is so weird. And again, with like office staff and accounting and stuff like that, again, that was something I was staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing all the time, really regularly. I tried getting a few virtual assistants, which is where you get somebody in a couple of hours a week and pay them like an extortionate rate just to do a few invoices. But the idea is then you don't have to employ them full time, because you pay a premium to get like the option of like kind of picking up and dropping them whenever you need them, rather than using them all the time. And then I ended up recruiting someone who I was looking for someone to do a couple of days a week. And basically somebody that I'd gone to school with applied, and she said, look, I only want to do a full-time job. I don't want to do 2 days a week. I want to do full-time, but I'm happy just to see how it goes. And she was just coming back off maternity leave, and I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to try it and just see what happens. And I actually cannot imagine not having it now. Like, I can't imagine having to, like, my phone, if I don't answer it because I'm busy or I'm driving or whatever, it just diverts straight to the office and they answer it. And it's just crazy to think that at one time I used to try and manage that constant income of calls while I was doing a job, or while I'd have to try and remember to ring them all back, or like, I just can't ever imagine doing that now. I just couldn't do it.
That's quite a brave decision for your employee herself, though. Coming off maternity leave, it's an uncertain time, especially when you've been off work for X amount of time, to then going into something different. That takes some guts, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, she did a similar role before with a building company, and she was coming off. She was a surrogate, so she didn't have a small baby. She'd been a surrogate, and she was coming back from that, so it was like a bit different for her. But she'd done something similar, just not for an electrical company. But she's like really supportive of sort of encouraging females into trades and stuff. So it was really nice for her to come into the company with sort of the ethic of the company sort of at heart. So that was nice too. But yeah, it is hard delegating. It's really scary, and it's like you feel like nobody's going to do it right. Nobody's going to do it like you. Everybody's going to do it differently, and sometimes it's really annoying when they don't do what you expect. But then other times, it's like amazing to look back and think like, oh my God, like I've only been out to quote this customer and like we've just completed a job and got paid from the job and I'm now sending a certificate and like I've had to have such little involvement in that, and it's, yeah, that's really rewarding. And when you get like good reviews and stuff and you think like my team have been out and done that job and like customers really happy with it, and you know the degree that I've actually had to get involved was so small compared to when it was just me going out and doing every job. So that's really nice.
Do you ever take credit for their work? Be like, you know, the apprentice or your employee's just done a really good job. You're like, oh, it's nothing really.
Well, what I always say to them, and it's something that I like try and drill home to them, is that if they go to a job, that customer, it shouldn't be any different than me going to that job. And when they go to the job, I'm putting my name to that job as though I've done it. So it should always be to the same standard, and never, you know. So I think because we've built such a brand now, I get the credit for all of them. But yeah. Everyone's like, Cathy is Little Miss Electrical, so.
It's definitely the case when you've built a business up yourself that you hold on to it as like a precious baby, and when you put that trust into other people, it's kind of, are they going to treat it in the same way? It is a bit of a risk. But yeah, with the reviews and feedback, we have a WhatsApp group where all of the customer feedback goes into. I think that's quite important that you share that with other people in your team, so they can see that coming back in as well, that their hard work is appreciated by the customers, and it's credit as a company rather than an individual. I'd love to say I was responsible for everything that was good or bad in my business, but it's not. It's the teamwork of everybody involved, and I think that's the progression you make from being employed as an electrician just as yourself with your own precious little baby to actually having a business that everybody's part of, and you're all working towards this common goal of serving your customers and clients in the best way that you can.
So
yeah, we do that. We share reviews and it works really well.
So I bet that's quite easy and rewarding, if you know what I mean, to share the good feedback with your staff. But how about if something goes wrong? How difficult is it being the one who's having to not necessarily tell someone off, but at least give them corrective instructions, to put it lightly?
Yeah, I mean, definitely with apprentices, they're going to make mistakes, and that can result in customer complaints as well. We had one recently where an apprentice had left a little bit of a mess on a job where they'd been asked to tidy up as they left. But ultimately, it wasn't their fault. It was the person supervising them for not checking that had been done correctly, and it's just taking the responsibility of that and then managing it with the customer. You can't expect perfection in everything that you're going to do. There will be mistakes, there will be issues, and then how you react to that by then giving the support and training and expectations of what you need to be doing for your clients with that particular employee, and then showing the client themselves that you're prepared to hold your hands up and put those little issues right at the point that they're happening. You know, that's all part and parcel of employing people. We're humans at the end of the day. Mistakes are going to happen. People are going to forget things here and there. And yeah, it's just sharing that amongst your team so that you all see it going on, and then you can all react and respond to it and learn for the next time. There's no such thing as a failure. It's just an opportunity to learn. And, you know, that's really important that you give your staff the opportunity to do that in the course of employment.
Yeah, and I agree totally. It's hard trying to, like, when you've got to tell someone off, especially because it's like you feel like they're your friends. I think there is like a fine line between them being your friends and your employees, and when you've got to say like, look, you've done this wrong, or this, you know, you've made this mistake, and you know, how can we put that right? But I think like Mark said, actually going through with them what they've done, or how, you know, how they can avoid making that mistake in future. We have a team meeting on Teams every Monday, and like if there's anything sort of major that's gone on, we bring it up then, and especially if we've had like a difficult customer and that we've managed to overcome it and turn it around. Like we had a couple of weeks ago who were both like quite thundery, and they were both like left laughing at the end of it. So, and it was just simple stuff like maybe, I don't know, we couldn't get them in as soon as they wanted or something silly, but we managed to sort of leave them both laughing at the end of it. So
do you find there's any pressure on yourselves to almost be perfect as well? I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Even the most experienced person in the world is going to mess up at some point. So with people watching you, do you find there's the added pressure of almost being this superhuman that doesn't make mistakes?
Definitely. I mean, that was something I struggled with early on in my career, that, you know, I expected too much of myself, that you weren't allowed to make mistakes. that you did have to be perfect in everything you do, but it can set you up for quite a miserable life at the end of the day, because that doesn't exist. Perfection certainly in your working life is not a thing. People do make mistakes, and I think hearing other people talk about it on social media is quite important, because sometimes the stuff you see on Instagram in particular, it's all perfect. You never see any of the mistakes and the mess. No one wants to share that stuff, but it goes on. It is real, and perfection is impossible. It's definitely something that I had probably maybe till I was about 30 years old. The last 10 years of my life have been a lot easier, because I've realized that it's just normal that people get things wrong, and you deal with it when it happens and learn and move on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. Like when we obviously, because we market the fact that we're all female electricians, and I like, it took me a while to sort of realize how I needed to portray that to my team. But what I did was I put a post on our Facebook account and said, like, when you hear the term female electrician, what do you expect? And our customers commented on it, and it just gave me sort of the ammo to be able to say to my team, like, this is what the customer expects before they even meet you. And they are so like, they have such high expectations of us straight away. They're like, oh, I mean, not that this is necessarily true or fair, but they'll say things like, oh, we expect you to be on time, we expect you to turn up, we expect you to do it right the first time, we expect you not to make a mess. Like, there's so much stuff that they automatically expect as soon as they hear the term female electrician. So they are expecting some sort of like fairy godmother before you even know your name. And I found that really hard to deal with, because then if you did ever make a mistake, like, the anger that they would have, or if like something silly, or you left a bit of a mess or whatever, I don't know, like the sort of the way that they would come at you because of that. Like, I found that really hard to sort of deal with, and I found it hard to deal with when you're employing people, to make them understand that's what the customer's expecting. But I think having that conversation with your team and letting them know that that's what customers expect, but then at the same time having that conversation with your clients. So what we do now is we send a document out with every quote and every job that gets accepted, and it's called What to Expect When, and then it's got different things like when you're having the ICR, when you're having a rewire, when you're having a board change, and it sort of lists what they should expect in the process, so that they can kind of get a feel of what's going to happen on the day. Because like, for example, in the ICR, we're going to have to turn the power off for a couple of hours, sometimes 3-4 hours at a time, and you'll get there and they're like, what do you mean you're turning my power off? I'm working from home and stuff. So we outline what they should expect from us, so that we can kind of manage their expectations. Something that I think about so often, at my previous job before I retrained as an electrician, one of the directors said to one of our customers, whilst ever I employ human beings, I will be subject to human error. And I just think, like, that's so true. Like, at the end of the day, we are human beings, and despite whether we're female, male, old, young, experienced, inexperienced, we're going to make mistakes. We want to minimize it as much as possible, but the customer just has to understand that. And that's I think just managing their expectations is so important.
That's quite a good bit of advice, actually.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's great advice. Interacting with your customers and clients to make them aware of what you're doing and what's going on is vital. And you can get into that chain of thought as a business owner, I think, of catastrophic thinking. So you're always worrying about what's going to go wrong. It can consume you if you let it. So part of managing a team, I feel, is kind of maintaining an even keel, where you can kind of deal with issues as they come up, but also not constantly worry about them, and then not expect everything to run perfectly all the time. It just comes with experience. It's not something that you're going to have straight away. It's certainly something I've had to learn the hard way. And yeah, it's trying to kind of just keep an even keel on things, be that level, solid rock to the business, if you like. That's my role now. Just providing that support for other people to know that I'm always there if there is an issue, and I will back them up. And equally, when success is achieved and we've done something good, I'm going to share and promote that around the business itself and into social media beyond, because it's good to know people are going to be rewarded when they've done good work as well.
So do you think you need to do almost a slow progression of your business? If you're starting out as a one-person band, you're gaining your experience, you're gaining your customers. When you think about taking on an apprentice or an employee, to do it slowly and gradually and build it up, not just think, right, let's invest a bit of money, let's get 5-10 new employees and just go for it, because you're not going to have those, the skills that you're talking about, how you're managing expectations and pressures and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, some people will invest a lot of money and really go for it. And I think when you do that, you kind of rolling the dice a little bit. It can either be boom or bust, it'll work or it won't. The approach I've taken is to slowly build over a number of years and just steadily offer that growth. I think 10-20% figure a year is a nice place to be. I'm not after being a huge multi-millionaire with a massive corporation of loads and loads of electricians working for me. We're quite comfortable in the size that we are now, but it has been a slow journey to get there. And other people will approach it in a different way. I know of other local contractors who have really chased some of the big contracts. So they've gone after local authorities. They've invested heavily in their staff and their equipment before they've actually got there. And it's worked for them. And I know of other contractors, not just electricians, but in other industries as well, who've had a go at that and it hasn't worked and they've lost the businesses. So it is a bit more risky, I think, that approach. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what Cathy thinks.
I think baby steps, keep it manageable. I've made the mistake of taking on people without spending enough time with them. I think get to know the new potential person as much as possible. Like if they can do work experience with you or weekends or whatever, just to build up a relationship with them first, that you know and you're 100% sure. I think definitely small manageable steps. Like I found the amount of stress involved in employing large numbers of people is just, it's just not worth it. You need a system that works properly before you start just jumping in and employing loads of people. Like we use job management software called Fergus, and that makes life so much easier. Like I think getting those sort of things in place as much as you can first. Obviously, like you might learn the hard way with some stuff, but like just making systems and processes as like fluent and easy as possible. Like if it works for one person, it'll work for two people. If it doesn't work for one person, it's not going to work no matter how many more people you take. And like I found that employing people to feel like if I'm really busy, trying to take people on, take my workload that need training isn't going to make me less busy. And sometimes taking people on to take my workload that do how to do a job but don't know my company also doesn't make me less busy, it makes me more busy. So I just think, like you said, like make it manageable, definitely. Don't bite off, what does he say, don't bite off more than you can chew, is that what it is? That one. Definitely. Yeah.
Have there been things that you've learned yourselves from employees and apprentices alike, things that you maybe thought in all your years of experience that you knew it all, and they've come along and actually showed you something quick and easy and a better way of doing things?
Definitely, that I still get active out on the tools. It sounds like Cathy does as well. And when you're in and around apprentices and they're coming up with this new gear that they've seen on Instagram, because a lot of them tend to follow the YouTube Sparks and people like that, and you see these new twin and earth stripping tools, for example, or the bags that they've got, the power tools that you can get now for cable stapling and all these things. You kind of get set in your ways as an electrician and stay where you're comfortable, I think. So being around younger apprentices, definitely. Also for them telling you your taste in music's awful and stuff like that as well. So it's out with wider opinion in society as well. It's really nice, I think, to have that as a team of people where you have got experienced older people and then young people together. You get that whole different view, not just on the trade you're in, but in the wider world beyond. It's something that I actually quite enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. Like they'll come and do something and you're like, why do you not like that? And then it's like loads quicker or something. Like, and especially like sometimes older people as well. Like I'm always really open-minded about learning things. Like I always I always want to learn something new, and I'm always really like keen to learn stuff that's different. Like I don't think you can ever say like, oh, I'm the most experienced, or I know the most, because everyone's got different experiences, and like having years and years of experience, you might have done completely different like area of work, or they might have picked up different things and got different opportunities that you haven't done or haven't realized. Or there's always things to learn no matter who it's from. Like you say, not always just about electrics, maybe just about how, I don't know, how you get on with each other, things like that.
Definitely, yeah. I think there's, like Mark said as well, even things outside of the industry, like the way to look at the world, and sometimes you can be quite shocked. You think, oh, bloody hell, I'm a dinosaur. What do I know?
Yeah, there's definitely elements of that. Definitely. Yeah. Certainly with the younger apprentices. And even just in my journey with Apprentice 1-to-1 and using social media, they've been a great help actually with that. I'm not an expert on posting stuff and getting the right message to the right people. They've actually really helped in forming those groups and those communities. So, it's just having an open mind to engage with anyone, if they're 16 years old or 75 years old. We're all equal at the end of the day, whatever the role in a business is. I think that's an important business concept. It's certainly something I try and do. It's not that I'm the manager, you all must do as I say. We're all part of a team. Everyone has a right to input into it, and whether you've just walked in the door or you've been there 15 years like I have.
Exactly, yeah. I've read that the government funding for apprentices has gone up. I think that's up to £3,000 now, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean that depends on when they entered the business. So this is something that is critical timing wise. It's where a few people have fallen down. So they've had staff in the business who were employed before April this year, and they're then kind of wanting to put them onto an apprenticeship. So they have to be freshly employed after the April the 1st, and then you have to apply for the grant itself. I think it's up to the end of September, but they don't have to have enrolled into an apprenticeship until the end of November. But yeah, there is that £3,000 COVID top-up grant there. And also, if they're aged 16 to 18, regardless of when they started employment in your business, you can claim a £1,000 grant as well. So it is a little bit complicated. The links to all of that information are on the government websites, and we've linked off to them from the Apprentice One-to-One website, because a lot of employers are asking that question. And it is quite a common thing, actually, where they've had staff in the business through the course of this kind of COVID pandemic, where it's been a little bit of a flexible arrangement, if you like, and now they're looking to put them into an apprenticeship, and they can't claim that grant because they started their employment before April. So it's something to be mindful of. Make sure you read into it carefully before you commit to something. You need to be aware of all of the financial impacts onto your business.
Has it been mainly positive, though, for you, in your experience with grants and taking on apprentices? You've not sort of been caught short money-wise?
No, not myself. I mean, we've been able to claim the grant. It is a good help at the outset. I mean, you get your first payment after 90 days, which is 50% of the grants, and the rest is after a year. So it's not an instant injection of cash into your business. And you do have a slowdown when someone first comes in as an apprentice. It's inevitable. A lot of them don't know the way around a job site. They don't know how to work and operate tools. Certainly the school leavers. So you do have to accept that there's going to be a period where you're maybe not going as fast as you would otherwise. But eventually, with that investment of yourself and your time into them, you get the payback later on. So when they're maybe 6 months to a year in and the penny starts to drop, they're helping you generate more money. And you do get the payback from it, definitely. There is a benefit for the apprentices and for the employers, definitely in my experience.
Yeah, so not to sound like you're exploiting young people or anything like that, but apprentices generally are on a lower pay, but it eventually does get to the point where they are generating more money than they cost to hire.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the nature of how it works. So there's kind of an investment from the apprentice themselves, where they are working on reduced wages. Even the older apprentices, for the first year, the wages aren't particularly great. I mean, employers can pay more than that. It is just the minimum. But I see that as the investment from the apprentice in approaching the training, where they're putting that little bit of something in, and the employers are still contributing towards some sort of salary for those people through the outset. At the end of the day, you've been paid to learn. It's a great way to learn and qualify. Something that I think is well worth doing for anybody, regardless of your age. Yeah, it is one of those things. At the end of the day, you do have to bite the bullet and accept the lower salary pay for so long, and the employers do get the benefit of that. But ultimately, the wages do increase through the course of time, and the idea is that you will employ them as an electrician in the end if things have worked out well. So there is the kind of forward planning for that, and I think the 4-year apprenticeship is a natural journey where people get used to it. I certainly did, where at the start I didn't really have the mindset of I'm going to employ this person as an electrician at the end. It was just a case of we need some help in the business, let's give someone apprenticeship, and if they go off and start their own business or work somewhere else, good on them. But over the course of time through that apprenticeship, we ended up where we needed them at the end as a qualified electrician. The natural journey we've been on have been busier, taking on more work, bigger work. We had a job role for them, and that's repeated over and over and over now.
I was going to say, that was my next question. Are you taking on these apprentices as full-time employees once their apprenticeship's complete?
Yeah, definitely. That's something we do. I don't know about Cathy, but it sounds like she did. She mentioned an apprentice who's just qualified recently.
Yeah. So the apprentice who I was talking about, she was working somewhere else, and they kept, because of COVID, her AM2 got delayed, and they kept saying to her, we might not continue your contract after the next 6 months. I think it was, they were giving her a 3-month contract at a time. I'd kept in touch with her just through a friend of a friend. And she just rang me up one day and was like, look, they're really threatening to end my contract before I get qualified. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm really worried. I'm really stuck. And we took her on basically to help her get qualified so that she knew she had somewhere where she'd be able to get that. And, I made that commitment to her that she was going to get qualified, have a placement to do the last bit of her apprenticeship, which was getting her AM2 pass. And I think she needed one job where she had a bit of 2.5 going in trunking, just to cover the last bit of her MVQ. And we sort of took over that role to help her get that last bit over, with the idea that she would then be able to sort of be one of our electricians. And it's really paid off. Like, I'm so glad I did it, and I'm so pleased with her, and I'm really pleased for her that she managed to get it all completed, because it was massively delayed for her, which must have been for her quite upsetting, because obviously she'd worked so hard for 4 years, and then it got to the last bit and it was kind of rocky road whether she was going to get it finished or not. So
and she'll remember you. She'll remember you forever for doing that, won't she? Obviously, like,
yeah,
that's got to be rewarding.
Yeah, and she's made such a good spark as well. Like, she's really good. Yeah.
And it's good that you're both in a position to be able to do that. I know a lot of people who run their own business, even if it's just a one-person band, that that they can take on apprentices to give them the experience, but once their apprenticeship's up, they can't, due to their business model or the way they work, they can't afford to keep them on, which is fine. That's their business model. They've helped an apprentice out, which is the main thing. But it's good that people like yourselves are in a position where you can take them on and let them progress even further.
Yeah, definitely. Not everyone is going to have that opportunity for somebody at the end, but if you can take them through the course of the training and at least give them the opportunity to qualify, it's already a great thing to do. And one of the things in Apprentice 1-to-1 that I've been quite proud of is that there's about 100 people now who are just single one-man bands who've taken on their first apprentices, having had a chat and discussion with some of the other people who were involved, people like Neil and myself. That's been something really nice to see happen. And yeah, it's just a natural progression where sometimes people need to hear that that's how it started for you. That's how you had your journey. I wish, looking back, that there was social media there for me to interact with when I was making these first steps, and you could see how other people had made it work, and it wasn't all sunshine and roses. But it's the way the world is now, and yeah, taking that first step and employing someone, you don't have to then take them on as an electrician at the end. It's not something you're obliged to do. But I do think that the natural way it ends up working is that does happen. That does happen. And it seems to be that the businesses grow as you're going through the 4 years, and you do have the work volume there. And generally speaking, you end up with businesses taking growth because of apprenticeships.
So what would your advice be to close this episode to anyone thinking of either taking on an apprentice, or even an apprentice thinking of approaching companies to get an apprenticeship?
Yeah, one of the big things I always tell people is make yourself known to employers and wholesalers. So get yourself around all the local wholesaler network, hand your CVs out, try and get a personal rapport with them. They're going to know the electricians who are stressed and busy and maybe taking on people, or they'll know the ones historically who always take on the apprentices. So get around the wholesale network, get on social media and follow all the local contractors, engage with them if you can. Send emails in, like Cathy said, and try and just make yourself known. As an employer yourself, absolutely, if you're in a position where you're kind of busy with work and you want an extra pair of hands in your business, do your due diligence in taking people on. Make sure you have got someone who is of the same sort of mindset to your business ethos. We're all different. We have different personalities. So rather than just looking at a CV and qualifications, look at the person themselves, and don't just rush into it. I hear a lot of stories where the people have taken on someone and had a bad experience and it's really put them off. There is a bit of self-responsibility in that as an employee yourself. You're the person recruiting. So make sure you do the work and the research and get the right fit for your business.
Use Apprentice 1-to-1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've got loads. It's actually still thousands of people who are desperate for employment. The numbers just seem to go up every week. There's such a lot of people there who are wanting to qualify as electricians. So if you do have an opportunity for anyone, get in touch with Apprentice 1-to-1 and we'll certainly share that job role out through our network.
How about you, Cathy? What would your advice be?
Yeah, so I'd say definitely, you should definitely look at apprentices, especially like you said with the grants that are available. Like, it's a really good sort of contribution to the business, but also like Mark said, I think it's important to put your expectations down as much as possible so that the person that you are going to employ knows what you expect and you know what they expect. Like, definitely spend as much time with them before committing to it as you can, so that you know you're doing the right thing. Like, I'm bad at getting really excited about stuff, and I get make decisions too quickly because I'm quite impulsive. So think about it, but not as in think about it and don't do it, but I'd just say get to know them as much as possible. If they can do some like, even if it's paid work experience beforehand, or work experience, get them on site, get to know them, you know, let them know what you expect as much as possible. Just like with our clients, we do a what to expect from people who come on work experience, giving them hints and tips about what to wear, what to bring, you know, how they can impress, things like that. And I think it's a really good thing to have apprentices. Like, it's something to be really proud of when you see them go and do and learn how to do a job, and they can do things without you having to intervene anymore, or show them and stuff. It's really rewarding. It's definitely something I'd recommend doing. I'd just say get as much sort of information about them and get to know them as much as possible when you're making your decision.
Yeah. So, well, I hope that's been useful for anyone watching this, whether you're on the employment side, apprentice side, or if you're an employer yourself looking to hire someone. I hope for everyone watching that's been useful. And I want to thank you, Mark and Cathy, for coming on the show. It's always great to have you back. So,
No, pleasure. Thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate that.
No, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
All right. Nice to see you both as well.
So hopefully we'll get you back on the show soon. May even get you in person once all these rules are relaxed. It'd be nice to. I've met Cathy in person. I haven't met you in person yet, Mark. So it'd be nice to.
I would love that. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, it'd be great. So anyway, if you want to see more from us here at SGTV, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, follow Cathy, follow Mark. They've got some great stuff out there. So anyway, we'll see you next time.